Hi and welcome to North Devon today. It's Tuesday the 22nd of May and here is the local weather forecast as provided by the Met Office. Today will be dry and sunny in most places but cloudier in Cornwall and West Devon. It will become very warm in most areas with the highest temperatures in Gloucestershire, Wiltshire and Dorset. Staying cooler along the north coast with a gentle onshore breeze, the maximum temperature should be 23 degrees. Moving on to tonight, after a fine, warm evening, low cloud will become fairly widespread, though eastern counties should remain clear. Mist or fog is likely, especially around coasts and the Somerset levels. The minimum temperature will be 8 degrees. And the outlook for Wednesday is as follows. Inland mist and fog will clear quickly after sunrise, giving another dry, sunny and very warm day, staying relatively misty around coasts as sea breezes continue to draw low cloud onshore. Maximum temperatures 25 degrees. How lovely is that? Now on to the traffic and travel. At Porlock on the A39, temporary traffic lights and water main work close it both ways at the turning for Selworthy. First Great Western report that the rail service between Barnstaple and Exeter is operating normally. The next story appears in the Western Morning News and runs as follows. The West Country should have its own version of Cape Canaveral, where satellites and intrepid travellers could be blasted into space, say business leaders. The region was one of the sites in Britain suggested for the country's own spaceport, a move which could help the successful British space industry really lift off, according to the Institute of Directors. Suitable locations for a spaceport could also be found in Scotland and Northern Ireland, it said. The West Country was amongst the favourite sites, plus one possibility that suggested a dual-purpose air and spaceport on the man-made island in the Severn Estuary. Others included lengthening the runway at an RAF base in Scotland or Northern Ireland, for instance RAF Lossiemouth. The proposals are set out in a new IOD report, Space, Britain's New Infrastructure Frontier, cataloguing the rapid growth of Britain's £8 billion space sector. The space industry in the UK, which is largely satellite-based, supports 85,000 jobs and has more than doubled in size in the last decade. By 2020, it is expected to employ 100,000. But it could go much further, according to the IOD. The report highlights the private sector space revolution, ushered in by the end of NASA's shuttle program, and says companies are now competing to provide commercial space services. A host of companies were now competing to provide space taxi services, and the cost of getting cargo into orbit was lowering rapidly. The Falcon 9 vehicle from SpaceX, for example, had reduced the cost per kilo of reaching low Earth orbit to just over 3,146, compared with between 11,325 and 37,750 for the Space Shuttle. SpaceX already had contracts with NASA worth more than $4 billion US, £2.5 billion, to launch cargoes to the International Space Station and deliver satellites into orbit. Globally, the squeeze on public space agencies such as NASA is leading to a private sector space revolution, with steep cuts in the cost of getting cargo into orbit, says the IOD. A massive opportunity beckons for the UK, should we choose to understand and embrace it. A few regulatory and infrastructure developments, including licensing a spaceport, would help the British space sector really lift off, the report added. Critical requirements for a spaceport were a long runway, an isolated and thinly populated location, and an undisturbed high-altitude air corridor. Skylon, a British-designed reusable spaceplane, now at the early stages of development, would need a runway 16,400 feet long, compared with Heathrow's 12,800 feet. A spaceport would act as a hub for space tourism, research and development, said the IOD. Space tourism should not be forgotten, says the report. space tourists are willing to pay $200,000 a ticket for a mere 3 hours in space. Crucially though, they will spend much longer within the vicinity of the spaceport and will no doubt have a lot of disposable income, and that would help the wider economy. A good model for a spaceport was the Mojave Iceland Spaceport, the first commercial spaceport licensed by the US Federal Aviation Administration, it said. And finally, please keep your ideas coming for the Teach Sarah 2 programme, and Moonshadow Media would like to thank Jonathan Edwards for agreeing to do the interview with Paul yesterday. If you have any items that you feel we should be covering in this broadcast, please give us a call on 07050 644 101 or email moonshadowmedia@mail.com. I'm Dave Baxter. This has been North Devon Today on Ilfracombe TV, and North Devon Today is a Moonshadow Media production. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.